channel. My name is Monette, and this is my channel, Evolve with Monette. Weird, right? It's the middle of the night, and I'm filming from a hospital bed. But, y'all, when the messages come, they come. And I am moving my bed inadvertently. What I want you guys to understand is that the idea of soulmates, seasons, and simplicity is something that has come to my awareness. And it's always been on my mind. I've always been of the belief that we have multiple soulmates. For those of you that are new here, let me say, my name is Monette, and I am a professional intuitive empath. And we are finding ourselves at a really weird junction in life where life is not going exactly how I would like it to, but it is going exactly how it's supposed to. But what I wanted to do was talk to you guys about this concept. I've always known that we have multiple soulmates. I have always known that you are supposed to experience that because that's what makes life all the more rich. Imagine having a favorite sweater that you had in high school. And for the guys listening, you might still wear that sweater 40 years later or 20 years later, but it may be out of fashion or style, or it may not give, as the kids say, what it was supposed to have given in this current season. I do not think that you should just switch out your friendship dynamics, groups, or lovers, but as you can see, it is an inevitable part of our life. We shift our partnerships, we shift and we change and we evolve into what feels right for us. And when a shift happens, sometimes we can have resentment. I'm speaking specifically for us girls here with our friendships, right? Our best friendships and such, because we feel like this person should have forever loyalty and allegiance, but they maybe had some other things to learn, and maybe you should consider that you did too. And if we're talking about a lover, then maybe having more than one or two, maybe a few, is a healthier thing to put your mind to. That's not to say juggling or being weird or being dishonest or anything like that, but it is to say when things shift and you're noticing that tower moments are happening. And a tower moment is when something is shifting cataclysmically because the universe is trying to get you to move your position. It's important to take heed of that and understand that you may be having a soulmate switch because it is a new season in your life. Now, let's talk about what it feels to be with a soulmate that's just right. Because a lot of us get caught up on our twin flames. And here's the thing, I have found the whole twin flame thing to be mother cracking excruciating, y'all. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. And I have gotten to the point of the apathy part regarding whoever that person was. I really just think that that person, maybe I'm renaming them, but I could say karmic soulmate, someone that was truly here to teach me lessons and that taught me some of the best lessons and put me right exactly where I needed to be. But it came with a lot of pain. I don't think that it's healthy. Let me disclaim that you hold on for a twin flame that's bashing you in the head, figuratively, emotionally, energetically, in reality, that is treating you differently, that's picking other people over you, that's strangulating you, that's cheating on you, that's not seeing your value and worth. What's magical or twin flamey about that? Nothing. That's a hot mess, and that's an abusive cycle of relationships. And for my empaths and divine feminines listening, we can often find ourselves caught up in that loop, right? And so that is what I want you to step away from, the madness of that. Let's shift into soulmates. Let's like downshift, okay? Let's take it down a couple notches. It's so funny because even me, I've gone through things where I've identified a connection with somebody. I've been like, yeah, you must be my twin flame. And I've had people be like, maybe I am, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm not, maybe I'm absolutely not, maybe I absolutely am. But the thing about it is I saw a lot of like sanity in it. I was like, oh, I get it. You don't want to go through this craziness. You would like a consistent and healthy relationship. And what I've noticed about soulmates that have really lifted me and elevated me is that it was simple. There wasn't the angstiness. They were not a professional vapor. Another video coming up about that. Are you dating a professional vapor? There wasn't this like, we're factoring in the ghosty part. There wasn't like, oh, there was that 9 months that they were trying to like sleep with my sister. And then we got together later after they had several cocktails and threw up on themselves. That's all that twin flamey BS that can happen. And it's like, but longingly, we knew it was always each other, shenanigans and balderdash. Even if you feel like that is a true reality, even if you feel like that's true for you, you are not supposed to torture yourself. There's a lesson to learn. Maybe there was some connection there, but it is not for you to hang on and burn forever. I can't tell you how infuriated I get when I'm watching these people that are counseling other people and they're like, three signs your twin flame's returning. Fuck your twin flame. What about other people in your realm? What about other people in your life? What about other connections and other soulmates? The twin flame connection can sometimes be so difficult that it can put you off of love altogether. Now, I happen to be a hopeless romantic and a hopeless friend romantic. I love connections and relationships. It is the bedrock of my life and it's the bedrock of my work. And that's why I want you to understand the soulmate thing is a lot more simple. That doesn't mean, like I said, I had a karmic soulmate. They were a hot, atrocious mess. That doesn't mean that when I have met other soulmates, that I didn't instantaneously recognize them, kind of that love at first sight, even if it was platonic, and knew that they were supposed to be in my life. And we have people in our life for seasons. For anyone having a hard time conceptualizing this, Miguel Ruiz, the Four Agreements, that book, and Miguel Ruiz's work in general really deals with the attachment. Whenever we start to think we own somebody or that they are ours, right? We can be territorial and we can feel drawn and connected to people. Sorry, guys. But whenever we start to feel like they are ours and no one can have them, we must have them for the rest of our life, we are locking ourselves into something that is airtight, that may not fit us just right and may not work with us for the many seasons. For those of us that are on our first marriages, second marriages, whatever, girl, no judgment. Look at that first relationship, or maybe that first significant relationship you had that you were so sure was going to fit you. And I'm assuring you now, without having to be in your relationship and without having to be psychic, that that fit who you were at the time, that fit where you were at the time, and that was right for you in the right season of your life. It didn't necessarily mean it evolved with you in the way that might fit you and feel fine today. We pick partners for the time we are in our life to fulfill the needs that we feel like we need to have fulfilled and have met, and vice versa. We are chosen in that same way. So whether it's your friendships or your loverships, you will have soulmates that come in and that sit a spell and stay, or that are meant to purposely go away. They are only meant to be a catalyst. They are only meant to raise your vibration. 222, that's so funny that you say that, Tanyan, because my phone is fast, and when I logged on and when I went live, it was 222, and I thought, oh, I got to pay attention to mention it, but my angels never fail. You're so awesome. Thank you for joining me tonight. So that's the thing that you need to understand. Some people are in your life, and 222, the reason she's saying that is because that is literally about soulmates, twin flames, and partnership. That number is all about that. So this is divinely guided, as you guys understand, with that number confirmation. What I will tell you here is that you will bounce into a lot of people that are supposed to be in your life. I'm in a season in my life where I have just such a freaking amazing group of beautiful girlfriends that have been such strong energies for me. And they have all reminded me how I fed into their life in certain seasons of their life and in my season of need. And none of us can predict the season of need. And the world, well, the universe has a way, God has a way of sitting us down if we won't do it, right? So I've been sat down energetically. And it's not because I did anything bad, it's because sometimes I overgive empath message. Can you relate? Sometimes I overdo. And so God says, well, we're going to have to sit you down too. I am not exempt from these lessons. That's why I say we evolve together. So in this season, I have found these beautiful friends I've had for umpteen years. None of them are brand new people, but I also have a newer energy. And one of the things that I find fascinating about this is the Girl Scout song comes to mind. Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other is gold. That's why I say you don't discard people for no reason, but sometimes life, the tectonic plates of life will shift, right? Which tectonic plates shift before an earthquake. And it is an indicator that an earthquake is going to happen. And so our tectonic plates emotionally and energetically, the fabric of our life may shift to bring in a new energy to help elevate us and teach us lessons. I have a beautiful connection in my life right now that I just am delighted with, but it was here to elevate me in certain areas of my life. She brought certain giftings to me. I was able to bring certain giftings to her. And I will tell you, there was a simplicity about that. And that's what I want you guys to be paying attention to for yourselves, the simplicity and ease. The Shakespeare says the path of love was never easy, or something. This is a wide, very not quoted verbatim here, but is it the path of true love never did run smooth? That's the thing. Life will throw things at you and all of that stuff, but the point is that your relationship should be for tough, meaning you should be able to withstand the ups and downs in any connection, right? Soulmate, twin flame, or otherwise, if it's a healthy connection. Struggle love is something that we've all gotten very accustomed to. And in a world and generation, many generations now, that are dating in this weird non committal way, or befriending each other in strange non committal ways, we have lost the essence of real connection, right? And we think that it has to be a fight, it has to be high drama, there has to be chasing and angst and all of that. We are primal, so there are mating dances and hunting, and there's all that stuff that I find quite delicious with my Leo energy. However, not all relationships have to be all angsty in order for them to be delicious. Yeah. And that's what I want you to understand and embrace, the soulmate simplicity. One thing, you're going to change soulmates and you'll have new ones come in for various seasons of your life. You and that person get to have the free will to decide, do they stay with you forever? Do they run and hide? Are they going to be ghosty and angsty? Or are they going to show up and be by your side? That is a mutual decision. Like Miguel Ruiz talks about, you have ownership over no one. The second you feel territorial and you feel like you have ownership over someone is the second they start to quote unquote slip through your fingers, because that grip is too tight, the enmeshment's too much, the codependency can push away a partner. Elizabeth, I can't think of her last name right now. Eat, Pray, Love, who wrote Eat, Pray, Love. I love her work, and I've written work about her work, and I've lived my own life understanding and embracing her work. And a lot of us look at that and think, she must just have this tumultuous love life. Maybe she's overindulgent. No, she left room. Um, I love you, Just Theory. Thank you. Just Theory is a soulmate in Kid Spirit for sure. And I will see you tomorrow, Jess, when you watch this back. Get some sleep, my love. But what I will tell you is that Elizabeth, has done this amazing work documenting her soulmate trajectory. So from her first marriage to falling out of love with her husband, to falling madly in love with someone that was young and dangerous and stripped her to bare bones emotionally, to marrying again, and then to leaving that person and falling in love with her dear friend, who was a best friend of hers, to now falling in love with her best friend. Y'all, we could say it's a mess, but what I say is that she's embraced the seasonal changes and understood, and it wasn't always easy, that we don't always stay with the same partner for eternity. There is nothing wrong with allowing yourself to feel. Not all of us are going to be a writer and document our love stories in that way, but that is how it really is. That's a more accurate picture. Extricating herself from her marriages and her relationships to move into these other ones that taught her such brilliant lessons didn't always come, obviously, with ease. There was pain involved. But when she found connections that were easy, she talks about them and what that feels like. That's why I say pay attention to the season, one, then pay attention to the simplicity, right? In the connections that I'm dealing with now with some of them, they are so easy. And they're so easy sometimes because I've come from the struggle love sector, like a lot of you, been on that struggle love bus where it was like too hard and too impossible and too angsty and too long distance and too much drama and too immature. I had seasons that were wonderful with someone who ended up just being a toxic trash bucket for me. However, I also realize that when it's time to shift your destiny, the universe will let you know. And I've realized that some of my best connections were the ones where things easily could grow. They wanted the same thing. We were on the same page. They made me feel safe Safety in a relationship is such an underrated thing. For some reason, we're all about, does he make me laugh? Does she make me giggle? Does my poom poom tickle? All of those things matter. Chemistry matters. If it's platonic chemistry with your friend or your bestie, matters. But do they make you feel safe? Seasonal, safety, simplicity, soulmate. Do they make you feel secure? Do they communicate with you? Do they anticipate your needs? This should be happening in all of your healthy relationships, no matter platonic or romantic. But that's something to look out for. I'm speaking to you, going through a lot in my life personally. Clearly, you can tell where we're filming. However, I feel so supported and loved. I feel like I don't have a care in the world because I have a support group and system of people that in their own way have been soulmates of mine. And really all platonic, truly just soulmates of mine that have been pure and loved me and connected. Let's talk about love at first sight with soulmates. You most likely, if you run into a soulmate, you will recognize them and you will know. You will know, and it's easy. It's just easy. I've talked to you guys about Captain Jan, one of my soulmates who was a Scottish sea captain, and it was easy with him. It was the movie. When we met, at a metaphysical thing, a metaphysical gathering, the Precision Circle. And hi, Carolyn. Good night, Jess. Good night, John Boy. I love you guys so much for popping in. But when we met, it was easy. And he asked me for coffee afterwards. And I had a soulmate at the time in my life, a friend with me that I adored. And we sat at the coffee shop till it closed down, till they put the chairs up, like in the movies, like Meg Ryan and Billy Crystal, like it really happened. And when he walked me to my car, he took my hand, he kissed it, and he said, Ashante, Shadi. And I knew. And you could say, oh, that's a come on, it's a pickup, it was too much. But for whatever reason, we had that connection where we were sparklingly attracted to one another, and it was magic. And it shouldn't have conventionally been so. It was very May December. I was much younger than him. We came from two completely different worlds, and yet we had a whirlwind connection and romance that was solid and always made me feel safe. It wasn't easy, and it didn't mean that there weren't complications, that life didn't throw the things it throws, but it means that I never wondered about how he felt about me. There was never any ghosty, there was never any angst. It was never too much. He lived half the year out of the country in Hungary and half of the year in the States. I I felt loved. When things happened to me, he took care of it from wherever he was. I got you. I've taken care of it. I'm sending this for you. When I get back, we'll take care of it. We'll do whatever needs to be done to correct it. That's the energy of being in a healthy relationship with a soulmate. And we shared the most beautiful conversations and hugs. That was all love. And that was a romantic connection. But for those of you that are having the bestie connection or a friendly connection, you know what it is to have chemistry and engage with someone. If someone's high drama and it's angsty and it feels weird, you'll know. The simplicity of just ease of knowing that someone's got your back when they say, I'm going to take care of you, they do. They show up, they come through. That is a lovely soulmate connection that you should nurture. But that doesn't mean that you'll never have another one after that, or that you need to be Cling Master 10 to the one that's in front of you because they make you feel supported like they have your back. It's something that I have done in the last 10 years of my life when I've noticed new connections coming in and out. I honor everybody. Like Jess Theory just popped up here, right? She's a kindred spirit for sure. I feel connected, and I've never met this person, but I see her face here. She sees mine. We have a parasocial relationship. That doesn't mean she's not a kindred spirit, right? And so what that means is that you have to welcome in those things if you know it in your life and honor it and say to the person, we have got to meet at this time and it's wonderful. And that's what I've been doing with the connections in my day-to-day, physical reality life. I have made it very clear. I care about you so much. I love you, soulmate. I know that you're here. I acknowledge your specialness, right? I acknowledge and honor, and I'm grateful for the simplicity of our connection. But if we don't get to spend the rest of our lives around each other, I want us to learn the most from each other, to extract the most, and to communicate, even if we have to go into a separate way. And I know that may seem antithetical to like soulmate, well, they should be connected to me. No, no, they're here, they're transient, they're here to teach us lessons. They're not supposed to be here forever. You don't need to hold on to them forever. For the first time in my life, I really understood that after holding on to something very toxic that should have been let go long ago. And that's also another thing to understand and know, that when you have overstayed your welcome in any relationship, whether it's that toxic twin flame or a soulmate or a karmic partner or whatever you want to call it will get really dicey. It will get really ugly because the universe is trying to get you to release it. It will be a car crash energetically in your life. And I wish I would have listened to myself, and my higher self, and released some other connections. And that's why I approach the new connections that I make, and even the ones that I've had for 15, 20 years, I approach them now with saying, I honor you, I see you, but if we're not always together side by side, then please know that I have taken the best from the life you've lived and I've applied it to my life, and I want you to take the best from the life I've lived and apply it to yours. Your soulmate should make you feel secure, not insecure, but it doesn't mean that they are stuck to you forever. It doesn't mean that they won't have new soulmates that they have to experience. Even in my last iteration of the toxic situation, the person that was so toxic to me was lovely to somebody else, and they really had a connection that she could nurture because it was a new season in her life. And no matter what my opinion was of it, or how well I can write it in a story, or how funny some of the stories will be from that situation, that was her journey. She needed to have that magic, the fireworks, all of the things that made her feel alive, because that's her life. She only has one. And sticking by my side was not her life's objective. She needed to go have fun and do things. And hear me, guys. Of course, that wasn't how I felt initially. We all feel threatened or jealous or hurt because this isn't my person. And that's why I got that lesson with that person, because I realized she was never my person. And I never felt really secure with her either. It wasn't even just about the relationship, it was about understanding that it was never simple with her. Does that make sense, guys? So sometimes we can make it seem like something is so magical with somebody, and then in retrospect, you realize I always had a knot in the pit of my stomach. I was always uncomfortable. I was always on a primal edge. And that's when those things have to jump off the ledge. Those soulmates have to go. Those are karmic partners, and they are lessons. Now, as I sit in the bed, not just this one, but the bed of my life regarding relationships, and I'm looking around at just a few people that are solid as a rock. And it doesn't mean that our relationship was always magical and there were no imperfections. There's a woman that I'm going to have you guys meet. I call her my bulldog. I freaking adore this woman. And in this last couple of years, she has advocated for me in every possible way. And in this last year of really tough medical stuff, she has actually been an advocate for me up at the hospital, yelling at the presidents, making sure that her friend was taken care of. I adore her. But we have had mishaps in our 15 plus year history where she did things that I didn't like, or I felt slightly betrayed, or I felt like she wasn't honoring me. And the thing that I love about her, and she'll say it, and it's so funny, she was up visiting me at the hospital the other day, and I wanted to make the video, and she's like, I want to wait till we're fully out of this, right? So you will meet her someday, and you'll hear it from her mouth. But what she said to me was that, you only have to tell me once. If you tell me that I've hurt you or that I got it wrong, then I'm going to make the adjustment. And the reason that I adore her so much is because as a soulmate in my life, she made the adjustment. It doesn't mean that our friendship was always perfect. It means that she took what I said and I took what she said and we adjusted it. And now the friendship we have is solid as a rock and very secure. It doesn't mean it can't be tested again, but it does mean that I think we evolved and we learned lessons, and I can call her more than a friend. That is the magic of a soulmate. Yes, it's simplicity. Yes, they make you feel secure, but they're also willing to really get down and dirty and do the heavy lifting of a relationship. Somebody that just walks away from you, that doesn't want to fight for the relationship. Again, we're not talking about struggle, love, fight. I'm talking about, in my correction of her constructive criticism of what I felt like happened, she could have very easily recoiled, pushed away, and been offended. But we evolved, we grew, and now we have conversations that are so beautiful I could cry, because we both know the value of having each other by each other's side. She has literally this year, several times, saved my life. including this most recent time. So that is the magic of a soulmate connection. It doesn't always make sense, and it may not always be a fluid from A to B. Some of us are very lucky that we have people in our lives for 20, 30, 40 years. That is not always how it will be. And in that friendship that I was talking to you about with my bulldog, she definitely has had other friendships and connections that she had to nurture because she had other experiences where she had to grow. That's what I want you guys to know. Allow those other experiences where you're supposed to grow to come in. But if someone comes in and it's easy, then say yes to that and realize they are a soulmate. And if you feel safe and you feel secure and you feel like the love is pure, then acknowledge them, but also give them room to have other connections in their life. Yes, guys, it's okay if you want to just pull them all in because they're yummy and magical and you just want to be their bestest of whatevers, or if they're a lover, you want that to be forever and ever, amen. But nothing lasts forever. Everything shifts, and even in your marriages, even if you stay married for 60 years, the dynamic of those marriages shift, right? And it evolves and it changes. Your spouse will be attracted to other people, you will be attracted to other people. Can we talk like adults here? Let's get out of the fairy tale. There is no happily ever after. There's a relationship that you worked at that you can look back at, maybe with laughter, and say, wow, we were dumb, or we had fun, or we didn't get that part right. But here we are, still sitting beside each other on this night. Those are the relationships that I treasure. The bulldog and I have a relationship that I treasure because we have had ups and downs. And here she is, still sticking with me. And she's done it with such aplomb and such loyalty, my favorite word. She has been loyal. Even in the moments where I didn't understand her reasoning or her own evolution or her own deviance into soulmate journeys, meaning not a deviant soulmate, but like she had to deviate down a different path, I still felt like, oh, this is a person that was supposed to be in my life. This was predestined. So that's what I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight. It should be simple. You should feel secure, and they do change seasonally, right? And it doesn't mean every quarter. This isn't a New York, fashion week, but it does mean that over years in your life, you will have different energies come in and out. I was talking to a friend today, and she was talking about a connection. She said our season may just be over, and I thought how lovely and mature. It didn't mean that there weren't parts in whatever the connection she was talking about that didn't hurt her in the separation of it, but she had come to a place of acceptance, not apathy, still cares for the person, but acceptance. Our season may be over. I wish we could all come to that sooner, because what will happen is it causes you so much less pain when you release someone that you think you're supposed to be attached to forever and say, what else does the universe have for me? You guys have heard my story front ways, back ways, up ways, and down ways, but that's the basic bottom line of what happened. I was holding on tightly to someone that was not ever for me, that never really made me feel safe and secure, that wasn't right in their own space and mind. And what do they say? The Bible says a double-minded man is unstable in all their ways. So because they didn't know who they were, that was an energy that permeated every area of their life. Insecurity, questions, is this right? Is this wrong? There was no stability. And I craved that. And so my angel said, clean out the closet. And I did, reluctantly, because sometimes we have a favorite soulmate, friend, thing, person, whatever. We think this is the best it could ever be. Nay, nay, I was wrong. When I released it willingly, instead of holding on and clawing and trying to stop destiny, I got exactly, guys, what I had always prayed for. It was even better, and it gets better every day. And if we have many seasons together and she decides to stick and stay, that's wonderful. But if she happens to go away, I am grateful. Not that she goes away, but because I got to experience a soulmate that made me feel so safe. And I only got that, guys, because I released something that was literally pulling, running, and trying to escape away. I don't know why I was holding on so hard. Maybe some of you guys could look over some of your relationships. When I look back at the way that that person made me feel, I never felt the value that I gave to her or any of those things. And I think that the reason that the soulmate shift had to happen in my case was because God said, it's time for you to heal. It's time for you to know what it's like to be loved by you. And the person they said in my life loves me the way that I do and the way that I loved others shifts too. And that could have never happened with the person I was hanging on to. That was an outdated soulmate in an outdated season of my life. She no longer fit. I didn't fit her life. She made that abundantly clear, and she no longer fit my life. And it caused me great fear. The song that I remember thinking about a lot as the transition was happening was Stevie Nicks. I took my love and I took it down. I've been afraid of changes because I've built my life around you, but time gets older, even children get older, and I'm getting older too. And it was a seasonal shift. That song is about the shifting sands of time and how our relationships are not always so easy to define, no matter what we promised to each other or what we thought when we began. I am grateful for everything that's happened. I'm even happy for that person that ended up being toxic for me because she ended up being, like I said, someone else's magical beauty, someone else's muse. Someone else got to have a beautiful experience with her, and I feel like that's really healthy. Obviously, guys, I've done my work in therapy and healing. I'm not saying that all of you guys will get to that point when sands shift and things change and new soulmates come in and old soulmates fade away, but it does mean that you do get to a place of healing. When I say I evolve with you, I mean it. I am not, I feel like everything happened exactly how it should. I don't miss it. I don't want it back. I have no regrets. I feel like my life is on track, and I feel so poured into, so nourished, and so loved that I know that this was something, not to be cheesy, guys, that could only come from above. It was destined. My Akashic records open. There was a predestined date, and I met a connection that blew my mind. I was like, this is exactly what I had prayed for, and I thought that I would never get, even though I'm a teacher of this for you guys. But God says, no, we gave you all angles, and now you get to experience the simplicity of a seasonal shift with a soulmate that actually makes you feel secure. And the reason that that can happen from outside to me is because I procured my own security by releasing what no longer fit me. You get it, guys? That's the message. Check for that when you're calling someone a soulmate. Is it easy? Doesn't mean it won't be work, but is it easy? One of my favorite Bob Marley quotes, and I'm getting it again, not verbatim, but if she's amazing, she won't be easy. And if she's easy, she's not worth it. He says essentially, someone will break your heart at some point. You just have to find the person who is worth even putting that much work into, because then they will be worthy of you too. Something of that nature. It's very loosely quoted. But if she's amazing, she won't be easy. Touche. If your soulmate is amazing, you'll have to put work in. You'll have to work at it day after day. I really believe in doing the connecting work of a relationship, touching base, and all of those things. But it shouldn't be something that is making you ragged and angsty and wondering if they're going to show up and actually have your back. You should know that this person is there to protect and attack. My connection now, this soulmate and the soulmates in my life, the handful that I have, make it no qualms that if pipe bombs needed to be assembled, figuratively speaking, or like I said about my bulldog that was at the hospital advocating for me, I know that these people love me. And the person that I was hanging on to used to tell me all the time, I would never do half of the things that these people do for you. Also a Maya Angelou quote, when someone shows you who they are or tells you who they are, believe them. I don't know why I tried to make her so magical. For me, she was not. For someone else, she may be. But I never felt safety. And that's what I want you to know. The bottom line is, it should be simple, but you will feel safe. Okay, guys? Anyway, you know how I can go round and round, so I'm going to put it down. I think there's another thing that I'm supposed to talk about regarding, are you dating professional vapor or Ricky Bobby's daddy? And we'll get into that if I have some more energy. But I was up because sometimes you're up, and I'm always up, but I'm up, and I wanted to just chat with you guys. I'm going to check and see if there's any questions or anything, and then if not, I will log off and see you guys later. No questions. It's late, and I am not upset about it at all. So, simplicity, seasonal changes, not get rid of, but if you can tell the tectonic plates are shifting and things are starting to get difficult, stop hanging on, okay? Release that.
because God will bring you in exactly what's right for you and probably better than you could ever ask. I didn't make a list because I didn't think that I was going to get that back, but God said, no good deed goes unpunished and no good thing, meaning like you will get your comeuppance in the best way. If I loved purely and gave that, then He said, why would you think that I would let you leave this earth without experiencing that in kind? It's even better than I've even given. I feel like, so grateful. Really, truly. Be grateful too when those soulmate shifts happen because you learn new things. I'll wrap it up with this. In her book, Eat, Pray, Love, she talks about meeting a soulmate in Texas. I don't remember what she calls him. He wasn't a lover and he wasn't necessarily a bestie, though they did become friends. But I think was she at an ashram? But yeah, I think he was from Texas, but she met him at an ashram. And he just talked some sense into her regarding some of her relationship shifts and dynamics. And she said that that was a soulmate for her. He came in, he woke her up, he emotionally slapped her around and kind of made her face herself in the mirror. And they weren't lovers or anything like that, but he was destined to be in her life. And they kept in touch, right? But it wasn't like they were by each other's side every day, but he's a pivotal person in her life and in her story. Sometimes a soulmate relationship will go that way. Maybe they're not supposed to be there for 25 years. Maybe it's a quick exchange at a coffee shop, but that was a destined moment that opened you up and got you to look at life differently. So, all right, guys, I love you so much. Come back and join me next time, and we'll continue to stay safe and secure and seasonally shift our soulmates when it's time so that we can keep our energy pure. All right, come back and join me next time. We'll continue to evolve together.